I have to go back again to get
God damn
wall
it.
anchors. Yeah. I mean, but really, like I was setting everything up and I figured, oh, let me do some work in the meantime while I'm waiting. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's this huge boom right in front of me. And like the monitor just like slices down.
Oh my fucking God.
Like I said, it was like a guillotine, just boom, right? And it's like, and it just misses my Cintiq, right? And it's just like, oh, come on, So it's like, yeah, so the entire arm that was holding the monitor just like pulled out of the wall. And yeah, so now I have to get like better anchors for it. But like you probably like you said, I either have to get toggle anchors or there's, like I said, these screw in metal anchors, because I can see where like the plastic anchor just completely like disintegrated.
Man, there are two fucking pieces of hardware that are like my absolute favorite fucking things in the world. Like you got all these bitches that like command strips and stuff like that.
No,
Now, man,
I've never had
them.
command. No, I've
hate
never
that
had
shit.
command strips work
Hate
in
them.
this office.
But toggle bolts
Yeah.
and fucking monkey hooks are my favorite goddamn
Monkey
things on
hooks?
earth. Yeah,
What are-
they're the ones that have the little U and they go into the sheetrock and they bend back and it's I'll show you one later.
All right,
But yeah,
okay.
they're fucking amazing. Comic books.
What?
Good morning,
Well,
everybody. It is Friday, March, April, May, June, July, June 6th,
Oh
2025.
man.
Agent 2, the vlog show.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's
goodness.
a really weird shaped fucking thing. I might even run and grab one during the intro. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
so yeah, stuff, Daphne.
Right. Stuff. Yeah. So
I mean, there's not. I like really have nothing right now because all I've been doing is watching the middle school breakup unfold.
oh yeah, that's true. I don't know. So how about we start the show?
All right, you ready for this?
No, but hit it.
Trigger warning, fuck you.
And fuck you. Hey, good morning.
I didn't even. Yeah, it's like I'm at a weird angle because now my screen is like
No, wait, I like that angle.
much longer.
That's it back. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because it's like, it's like now it's like everything is like I have my monitor now leaning against like the the anchor that the monitor arm that fell out of the wall. So I kind of have my camera and it's like, yeah, everything's out of whack now. Until and like I said, it happened just I was like almost about to text you going, yo, my shit just collapsed. I have to go fix it.
There's been a crisis.
Right. But no. Once I realized nothing was broken.
Oh geez.
And I said, okay, let me just prop the monitor up. Let me just put my camera there.
Right,
It's
right.
like, yeah, I know. It's a little too close. A close-up, you jerk! A close-up!
I can appreciate these things.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so everything is just like
These.
no.
There's another brand that were monkey hooks. These are some kind of gorilla hooks, but it's called an hook. And
Right.
these for pictures, I'm talking large ass pictures. Like we have a fucking huge. It's probably a
Right.
35-pound picture frame holding a map of the United States where it says
Right.
the Gulf of Mexico on it. Anyway,
Right.
like they
That's
go into
classic. Oh,
this.
you have a collector's
I
edition.
do. I have a
Now.
collector's edition, but there's this little bitty piece that goes into the wall, so it's barely bigger than a penny nail,
Right.
and it goes in, and you just push it in like that, and you hang on this piece right here.
Oh.
So
Oh,
and it can
that's
support a shit
clever.
ton of weight with
Because
just a
it's
little hole.
using right, because
Yeah,
it's
I have a fucking massive ass map with just hanging up by one of these.
right. Oh, that yeah, I don't think that that's what I
No,
but
no,
that's
no,
good
no.
to
You
keep in
get a
mind
toggle
though.
bolt for the monitor,
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
arm because that's what I
Right.
would use. And put a hole smaller than my pinky, and you can
Right.
fucking put 450-pound fucking toggles in there, and that shit ain't going nowhere until you're ready.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have because because it just looks like good morning. Yeah, you know what? It's like enough of my Home Depot
This is our
adventure.
home improvement show. All we need is guest speaker Mercury Stardust. And
Right,
we
yeah. I know, right? Oh my goodness. Obviously Melissa and Rob is in the chat
and
and
Lou.
Lou is in the chat. And yes, I see you. Maybe at an awkward angle. I see you, all my beautiful, all the Home Depot.
My girlfriend's here.
You know,
I mean, your
it's like,
sister. Shit.
yeah. We're all at Home Depot. Oh, it's like I see you, our beautiful eyeball people watching from regions beyond. If you're joining us from Facebook, come on over to YouTube, join the sexy people in the chat so we can all go to Home Depot together. And while you're here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. Oh my goodness. So I was like, oh my god, everything is at the wrong angle now. Jesus, everything is like too low now. My microphone's too high, the monitor's too low now. It's like, but it could be worse. Because like I said, nothing's broken.
Break your shit, though.
Right. Yeah, nothing's broken. So but still though. So hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic artist from New York. I've been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Especially now. And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales and my medieval fantasy drama Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which I am currently fulfilling right now. I got the books in the other day, and I'm just slowly getting through packaging everything. So hopefully by the beginning of next week, I'll start actually shipping stuff out and have this whole thing done in the next 2 weeks. So thank you everybody who pledged to Eagle Raven issue 11. And if you missed it, in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at eagleworks.com, EGOWRKS, and Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. And you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, which I also simulcast through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about it, here's no need for introduction, Nita.
Yeah. So my name is Nita Lanning, and I'm an internet troll and marketer from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And you know what that means?
Run! She's a ghost and a bitch!
Yeah, no. Anyway, and I have a YouTube channel. There we go. And my friends are on it because we share it because we're like that. I share my toys.
Oh my goodness. Well, that worked. Yeah, because it's like the other day, it's like, we had gotten into a discussion about whether we should be shortening, or at least me. I should be shortening my introduction, that maybe it's like,
I was clean, though, not gonna lie. You did great.
Well, only because I said it faster.
Hey, whatever works. The Micro Machine dude made millions.
Right. So it's like, because I've been watching this author that because she recently did a video about how she spent a month trying to figure out TikTok, and it was just like, holy crap, that's a lot of work to get nothing out of it. I mean, it's like, but at the same time, she says that now that she's kind of figuring out, hey, what's like kind of like going on with that, that she says she can kind of see the potential, but then she put out another video where she talks about how she's beginning to find herself like like almost wanting to change her like scenes in her book so that it would be more easily marketable for TikTok.
Oh,
And
no,
she
man.
had to, and she had to
Nah.
stop herself. Yeah, and she had to really stop herself. Because it was just like, oh, wait a minute. Now we're getting into danger territory, right? Where it's like, and the thing is though, it's like there's a similar conversation. Now, she's talking about novels, right? But there's a similar conversation to be had about comics as well.
Right.
Where, we're trying to figure, I mean, honestly, I think that we can agree that marketing, unless you really have the budget, you cannot do marketing correctly in your favor.
No, it's social media publication, like
Right.
putting out there on social media. It's not true marketing.
Right. Yeah. It's like all we're doing is just really like self promotion,
Right.
but yeah, it's like we're not really doing marketing.
No.
Because it's like, we're not buying advertising, we're not sending stuff, we don't have, we don't have
we don't have commercials coming on.
Right, we don't have influencers reading our books next to their Labubu.
No banners scrolling across Pornhub.
Right, yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that. Because it's like, because also it's like the main thing that I realized that, like for us at our level, marketing is a misnomer.
Right.
Is if I have to be in your face in public or like at a show to sell my book, then the marketing's not working.
Right.
Because it's like the whole point of marketing is that you're establishing knowledge of your product without you having to be there.
Right.
And it's like, and yeah, and it's just like, okay, so she's, so she's talking about using TikTok, and she's beginning to like, and she had like this brain rot moment where it's like, oh, well, maybe if I changed this scene in my story, I could make it punchier and I could use it for marketing on TikTok. And then, like I said, she had to stop herself. And that was kind of like making me think about a question that I didn't get to ask on some of Jose's previous shows, where it's like, how do we reconcile the fact that we're literally just small fries in this industry, right? But there's still this expectation of like performing like we're much bigger than we really are, that it's like that, we're on Kickstarter, but selling quirky books to quirky people, but there's still this expectation, this kind of like background noise of pressure, right? This kind of peer pressure, this background noise, peer pressure, where it's like, yeah, but you're still supposed to be, but it's like you're not selling like Mendoza or Polito, or it's like, even though Polito's not even on Kickstarter anymore, there's still kind of like, okay, well, now you're not selling like Mendoza, you're not making 6 figures, you're not making 5 figures,
right?
But it's like, bruh, I'm selling like a very niche comic book, that if I am able to sell 80 copies on, after PDFs, pretending that you're something that you're not is almost a definition of marketing. It's kind of like, you go to Burger King or McDonald's and you see the picture of the hamburger, and then you get the hamburger, and they look
Yeah.
nothing like each other,
That's indie comics.
you know, and and that actually
it's
kind
not.
of, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, so it's like, yeah, so it's like, so hearing this author like I said, have a brain rot moment about her own book, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? It's like, no, that's not how it's supposed to go. I'm not supposed to be changing my content, what I'm working on for the sake of an algorithm, and like how much of us kind of get caught up in that, where it's like, oh, well, if you want to make money on Kickstarter, you have to follow trends. But it's like, we've already shown that it's not really trends you're following, is that you have to be specific people.
Right.
It could be a grind for self-promotion. Got on the local news 3 times and into the local paper in my town, and it didn't make my sales like skyrocket. It was, of course, before Kickstarter and all that. Yeah, but I mean, it's like, did it do? Yeah, because that was the thing. Like, so she was using, yeah, if my male love interest is more of a dick, my book will sell for sure. Yeah, so no, it's funny because that's kind of like what she was getting at, right?
Yeah, fuck that.
That, like, and I'm kind of wondering, like, whether that's kind of the case, like, just throughout social media too. It's just that I think what it is that TikTok set the pace, and then every other platform is following. So that's why you kind of have like this weird sameness now across the platforms as to how certain things perform. Like, because she was saying that the thing with TikTok, right? Like, the concept of the elevator pitch,
Mhm.
right? Now it's like, I kind of think we're talking about, it's now the
Who lives
TikTok
in an
pitch.
elevator pitch.
It's the TikTok pitch,
Right.
where it's like, where, like the elevator pitch is kind of like 1 or 2 sentences that you can, like kind of like sell your idea, right?
Right.
But what happens when you have to make that even shorter? Like,
Comic book.
it's like, like, could you sell your comic to somebody in 30 seconds? And it's like, and not only, and we're not talking about, it's like, and it's also like a very specific 30 seconds that she was talking
Then that's
about.
why you have to cater to that audience. So you have you curate your audience so that you have an audience that you can pitch to in 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah. You see, that's kind of the irony of it, right? That
Right.
it's like, if you're in
And
front
they'll
of the
get it.
right audience, right? If you're
It
in front of
doesn't
your
matter,
right
right.
audience, you don't have to say anything to them.
Yeah.
You could just show your book and they're like, yes, give me that one. Give me that.
Yeah. That, and then you have the curious audience. The curious audience should be sold in the 30-second pitch.
Right.
And then you have the people that are just walking through and you're
Right.
shouting into the noise, and they might have
Right.
that interest, but they have no idea what you're doing. So you got to be a
Right.
little bit more. Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, because she was talking about, like, the thing with TikTok, right, is that
Damn it. Why
in order for the algorithm, like the algorithm, just no matter what you do, it loves it. We're all going to be on the same level.
I was trying to fucking lock the chair because it won't stop rocking, and it's like,
Right.
God, it sounds like I'm farting over here.
Oh no.
There we go.
Okay, you good?
I don't know, man. Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Where like she was saying that no matter how she tried to curate her TikTok feed, it was always the most outrageous videos that she would see. Like, it's like the more outrageous, the better, right? And this was always a complaint. Like, it's kind of funny that the overlap. I was joking to Jose about this. It's like, you know what? It's like, here I am complaining. We've complained about TNA books and not safe for work books, and why is that shit selling like hotcakes and blah blah blah. Why, but again, it's very specific people, not necessarily the genre,
right,
that's making all the money. But but here I am on Book Talk, And it's kind of the same thing where it's like all the books, all the popular books is all about like, oh, how smutty it is. You know, it does have all the tropes, you know, very specific tropes and this, that, and the other thing. And you know, she was saying like she's, you know, and there's a lot of criticism to be had with a lot of these romantasy books where it's like the way they're marketed on TikTok. It's like, oh, it has like, you don't even know what the plot is. It's just that, oh, it has, you know, a shadow daddy that when the shadow daddy calls you into his bedroom, you know, like that's the hook, right? That a lot of these videos have, right? So, you know, and it's like where it's like in those words, right, to the audience that knows what they mean, they know what that means. You know,
Right.
that it's like that one sentence, like just ticks off a lot of check boxes for the people who are watching it and know what that means. And it's like, okay, so you have like the big dark brooding, you know, usually a fey prince or something, you know, and you know, and he has some kind of magical powers, and you know, he's compelling you into the bedroom. So there's this whole dominance thing going on in that one stupid line,
Right.
you know. So like the one line is saying like all these things that's not really being literally said in the line, but the target audience knows what that means, you know. And it's like, you know, and I'm sitting there and it's like, I can't do that. like her whole thing, right, was that she was like going through her book trying to figure out like a hook similar to that. But the problem is that she doesn't write to tropes. She doesn't write to tropes. She's not writing a standard fantasy novel. You know, she's writing a fantasy novel. Avoiding trends can be just as tiring as chasing them. Like a couple people mentioned that cryptid comics are trendy, but I don't follow Kickstarter enough to know that. And it's like, well, you see, the funny thing is that it's like, no, that is the plot. Yeah, depending on the book, you know. This week I learned to always be your own backup plan for promoting your product. Other platforms can kick you to the curb at any time for any reason. Right, exactly. And that's also what she was talking about, right? That it's like, so what happens is that because these are like, oh, like she was talking about like the hooks, like these types of book talk things, right? That it's like that what really performs well are like really bombastic emotional responses,
Right.
you know. And you know, and she's going through her book and she doesn't have that because she writes for normal people, not for like trends or tropes, you know. So that's why she ended up with that brain rot moment, right? But at the same time, I asked her this on her video, but I don't know if she answered it. I go, well, what if you just make something up, like exaggerate something just for the TikTok? You know, you're not changing your story, but you're exaggerating something for the sake of the TikTok,
just to get that click over to go check
right?
out the actual. Yeah, fuck it.
Is there really going to be people who are going to like remember that TikTok, read your book, and go, "Hey, that scene's not really in here"? Like, are they going to remember that 30-second moment? You know, it's like because in the end, when we're talking about the McDonald's pictures, the only time people complain about the difference between the picture and the actual food is if the food is bad, right?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, nobody goes to a McDonald's and complains that it's like, you know, oh, it doesn't look anything like the picture. It's like nobody, not TikTok pilled, I guess, you know. You know, they do that. You know, normal people don't do that. You know, I mean, they just eat the food because that's what it is. And as long as it tastes good and there's no like fish hook in it or something, you know, then, you know, the thing did its job, right? So if they
Right.
buy your book off of a pseudo, like, would it be misleading or exaggerated? You know?
I guess it depends on what you said.
Right. I guess. Yeah. And they read the book and they find that they enjoy the book. Right. But, it's, then what does it matter? Like whether you had to like white lie it a bit, on the thing, because honestly, I've bought books based on TikTok that gave me the most, okay, as long as it have a monkey hook in it. Yeah, movies do it all the time. One of the coolest looking scenes in Rogue One trailer was left on the cutting room floor. That's true. A lot of it's like, yeah, like the Rogue One trailer is an entirely different movie than what you actually saw. That's
right.
Good. Yeah, that's a
that's,
good.
That's a very good example.
Because it's like I've bought books on TikTok that those dumb bitches would have made you thought it was like the greatest thing ever, and I have yet to like one of them. I mean, really, it's like, no, not true. Well, the romantasy, yes. What's funny is that when I watch, when I got books recommended by Horror Talk, those were good books. Those were actually good books. And I kind of think, what happened?
I cannot get Facebook to go live no matter what. It will not let me change the fucking status or whatever. I don't care. Like,
so it's on private?
Yeah, and it's doing this thing where it's like it won't even give you the option to change it from only me to fucking public. So whatever.
Right. But you see, that's why we tell people to come over to YouTube.
Come on over to YouTube.
Because this is what happens when Facebook acts up, right? But this is exactly what.
And that is not user error, because it's something I've been doing for 5 fucking years now.
Right. Yeah. So so it's like I just kind of like, so I watch these videos, right? And and Jose asked me the last time I was kind of like having like, oh, what if I did this? What if I do that? And he goes, why are you thinking so much about this? It's like, because it's like, we know that's a whole other thing too.
Yeah, right.
It's for books that make you look well read but really suck in reality, right? Well, and then sometimes it doesn't even, it's not even make you well read, because it's like when they say that it's like the only reason you should buy the book is because it's a 5 chili pepper smutty, it's right. Like, it's like they're not selling you literature. So it's like, it was really funny though. Just a complete side note. It was just a really funny story. That two authors got busted using AI to write their novels because they forgot to edit out the prompts from their manuscripts.
God damn, if you're gonna be a lazy bitch, at least be smart about it, dude.
Yeah, because and the thing is though, not only, and the fun, so people were they had their ARC readers, right, reading the books, and right there, like, not only did they see the prompts, right, because it's like, if you just copy it, which means that they were blindly copying and pasting, because that's what I learned from my weekend sojourn with Gemini, with Google Gemini, is that it gives you the answer, right? And then if you click copy and paste, it also pastes your prompt. So it copies your prompt and your answer. So it seems like this brain trust of authors forgot to do that. And they were just blindly pasting the shit that they were getting in ChatGPT into their manuscript. Right? Actually, it wasn't. I watch a lot of book review videos on these book talk books, and they don't make any damn sense. It's exhausting just to hear the review. Right? Because what it is that, but to finish the story though, right? So one of them was ARC. Oh, no. That's true too, because that's what happened. Because not only did they see her prompts for ChatGPT, but also what authors she was trying to copy,
Right.
And and it's like,
oh, so she had her like in the style of
right, she had in the style of,
fuck.
and then it's like, and then here's the thing. So it wasn't okay. One of them wasn't an ARC reads, which is like pre-publication. One of them was just books that she just sold on Amazon. So pretty much what she was doing was that she was writing a story, she was copying and pasting it and then uploading it to Amazon. She wasn't even looking through her shit.
Yay.
And it's like, and it's like one of them is trying to like blame her editor because like, oh, I paid $13,000 for an editor, and I go, bitch, one of those things is lying. You're lying about one of those things. And I think it's the editor part. Because it's like,
why would the editor have prompted ChatGPT?
No, that the editor should have caught the prompts.
Oh,
paid $13,000 to, but it's like, no, I don't believe you. I do not believe that there was an editor nor $13,000 spent.
Right. Headphones and earrings do not mix.
Oh wait, what was that? Hold on, what was that Melissa had said? The readers are kind of responsible for buying this cookie cutter shit, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Oh no, absolutely. That's what it is. So it's like, so TikTok kind of like teaches authors to flatten out their material. So you know what it is, it's 13K for Microsoft spell check. It's like art created by nobody means nothing,
right?
So that's who she was talking about. Like, so what it was that because everyone's trying to blow up on TikTok, because it does result in sales if you do, everyone is writing their books the same way so that they can write it for TikTok, so that they can market it for TikTok. So it's like they're technically writing for TikTok. They're not really writing for an audience. They're writing for TikTok. And it's like, yeah, and it's like these, like, I mean, like, I'm up to here romantasy books, because it's like I have yet to read one that it's like, this is, or as Jose puts it, trash. I mean, and it's like, and the thing is, and it's like, and I've heard writers say the problem with romantasy is that they do neither fantasy nor romance correctly.
No.
And it's like, yeah, but like I said though, actual smut books have no problem with it. They don't pretend to be anything else other than what that is. It's like, what? You are not reading Ice Planet Barbarians.
Let's get ready for some serious, intense ass fucking.
You are not right. You are not reading Ice Planet Barbarians for the literature.
No.
Okay.
It is literature at its finest.
It's like you're reading it to find out that on page 5 the alien wakes up, the stranded kidnapped human woman is woken up by an alien who's eating her out. That's page 5. There you go. That's what you read Ice Planet Barbarians for.
Like, they even have, some of those books even have page like suggestions to go to in the back. It's like, what?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I would know this, but
I haven't seen that. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I would look, like I said, the latest
digitals.
The latest book for Ice Planet Barbarians, the author actually has an apology section in the book, because this particular story didn't have the happiest of happy endings that her audience would have expected. because she wanted to do something different. And it's
Right.
like, oh my God, that is like, no.
Be
You don't.
unapologetic about it. Be
Right.
different.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You do not apologize, because it's like, if you write your book the way you want it and people are pissy about it, that's a them problem, because it's like, look, oh, I'm sorry. Did you not cater to, it's like, were you not catering to their fetish specifically?
You have to dare to be different. Gosh, dude, man. They taught us that shit in the program at school.
So yeah, so it's like, so of course it's like I'm trying to apply this to comics, and Jose is like going, why are you even bothering? It's like the types of books that I'm sorry, you're reading a shit book. Yeah, I know. I had to stop. I had to stop one that I might go back to it later depending on how I'm feeling, but it's like, it's like I had to stop the second like the main character all of a sudden decided that slavery was bad. And it's like, which wouldn't be such a bad thing if it wasn't so incredibly superficial,
Right.
that it was just like kind of like a stupid plot point to put in just so the character looks more well developed than she really is.
It helps the character development along really quick.
Right. I mean,
Go back to lapping labias, and we're all
right.
good.
Yeah, it's like yeah. It's like, look, I bought like a whole shit ton of books from Monsterotica. Maybe I should actually no. I think I have to cleanse my palate with something like not related, and then
go back.
Maybe like reread The Great Gatsby or something. I don't know. But so yeah, so Jose's like going, it's like, why are you even bothering? It's like, we're, at our level, right? At the 75% of the Kickstarters that just make between 1,000 and 9,999, right? That's where the most of us reside, right? And even then, only a very few, like you have that, it's just a small segment that makes the higher end of that chart, of that segment. So it's like it's like nothing is set up for us to succeed, really. Like the platforms don't work in our favor, the marketing doesn't work in our favor. Like we're literally too small to really make these things work the way people keep telling us they should work. I think Grant says, honestly, I like genre tropes. I like playing around with them, but breaking them down into such minute detail turns it into a formula. Right. There's a difference because like, look, you can't get away from using tropes because a lot of the time, because you see, the thing is though, is that I don't write to tropes.
Right.
Like I don't have a checklist of tropes that it's like, oh, it's like I'm purposely, oh, this is what this means. No, I write I write to story. And whatever's in the story, that's what belongs there. And if it happens to be somewhat related to a trope, then okay, but I didn't write specifically to that thing. And I think that's like the difference is that a lot of these authors, they're literally writing specifically to that trope. Shadow Daddy Fae Princess with bat wings. It's like they're literally like, oh, enemies to lovers, Raylos, Yes, let me mention my character has morals. Right. Like it's like really like ham-fisted, right? And the funny thing is that this is the same thing, this is the same thing. Like, it's kind of like they're writing to a market the way like the TNA guys are creating for a market. It's the same thing. It's like, it was such a mind fuck to kind of realize that. It's like, holy shit, this is the exact same thing. Right. And the complaints are the same thing. it's like all you're doing is just like writing, or just like really marketing to to these very specific tropes to trigger a very specific audience that happens to want to spend the most money on this trash. you know um so it's like, yeah, so it's like, so I write to story, and then it's like I said, if there's a trope that happens to be in there, then I just consider it funny, and it's like, oh, okay, that's funny that it's there, but I don't write specifically to it, which
Right.
I think is the difference. It's kind of like, look, it's kind of like Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut, where I was literally trying to market directly to the not safe for work. But like, but it was more important for me to have a story that made sense leading up to the porn than just have the porn itself.
Right.
So it's like, that's, so yeah, so the point, it's the point that he's making. It's like, where to, it's kind of like the people who say, oh, just invest your money. It's like, if you have any extra money, just invest it. Well, the part that they don't tell you is that investments like that, as somebody who's done this, investments don't really pay off until you have 6 figures worth of investment. That's when you really start to see a payback. But up until, if you just have like 10 grand and you're like going, oh, I'd like to invest it. It's like, well, here's a high interest money. Here's a high interest yield account that'll give you 3% back.
Right.
Good luck. It's like, even if you put that in the stock market, at best you'll get 8% back, but it's like, and if you're incredibly lucky, 12, but on $10,000, that's really not making money, and that's, marketing is the same way. It's like, you need to have a certain amount of money to actually make the marketing actually work in your favor. Up until that point, you're just pissing in the wind. So yeah, so like I said, it's like, there's kind of like logically, I know that. That you have to, yes, I've heard that you have to spend so much money to get any return on your investment. Right, exactly. It's the guy telling you that it's like, oh yeah, just buy Facebook ads. Funny that you mention it, right? Just buy Facebook ads, right? But what he's not telling you is that he's spending $24,000 a year on Facebook ads.
Right. And the moment he stops, his reach plummets.
Right, so so yeah, so in the end, where does that leave us, right? It's like, where do we just accept the fact that, like, this is it, like, we're writing to this, we have this niche product, and and it's like, and I guess we require a niche audience to buy it. But the problem is that when your audience is also niche, you're not really making big money off of that. It's like, you are not going to even go any place near Dan Mendoza numbers. I write futuristic blaxploitation, early 90s hip hop influence shit. That's a niche. That's definitely a niche. Right. It isn't huge, but it's dedicated.
Right.
And it's like, and that's the thing. It actually makes it a bit easier to market through word of mouth, which also leads me to this other thing that I know that I've talked about, is the fact that you are not supposed to be selling your book directly.
Right.
That people who are interested in your book, they do not want to hear from you how beautiful your baby is. They don't
Right.
give a shit. They know you think your baby is beautiful.
And they've also seen that ugly little motherfucker growing. Like, no, your baby's cute.
You're right. Yeah. It's like they already know. So it's like, so the thing is that if I, so that's why the whole thing about, well, but if you're at a show, it's like, if I have to explain it to people, the marketing's not working.
Right.
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 And a show is a completely, like, it's you're selling face to face, right? But the whole idea of marketing, really the whole point of marketing, is that you don't have to do that. It's like the owner of Kraft is not in the supermarket selling mac and cheese to you. It's like the CEO of Coca-Cola is not in the bodega handing you the Coca-Cola. I mean,
Right.
It's like, that's not how that works, right? But somehow that's, when it comes to marketing, that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing, which is not.
Right.
It's like, it's kind of like, so like I said, it's like we're doing these niche books, and it's like we have an even nicher audience. And it's like, at what point do we just accept, okay, this is kind of it?
Right.
This is kind of it. This is our ceiling, especially if you're just talking about Kickstarter. This is probably the most people you're going to get without doing something drastic. And even then, what does that even mean? Like turning around and trying to find a new audience, or to add to this Kickstarter audience. Is kind of like the whole thing where it's like, how do I add the Monsterotica audience to my Kickstarter audience, right? But it's like, it's like, at what point do I actually just do the work that I'm supposed to be doing? It's like, at what point do I actually just work on my book?
I want to apologize to Rob, even though I never said it out loud. I was starting to wonder. Yeah, I was starting to wonder where my Nightwolf 9 was. I've had it in here forever.
Oh, do we have an unboxing? Do we have an unboxing?
I just unboxed it because I looked down and I'm like, what is that? And then it was like, oh my God. Because I was about to ask him, I was like, are you going to ship, dude? And it's like, this fucker's been in here forever. And
there you go. You were about to blame Rob for being an irresponsible Kickstarter person.
I was going to ask him about it.
For shame.
I know. I feel so bad. But what happened was,
Wolf Dad cares.
I know, and he's
about
always on time, if not early. So that's why I was kind of like, is he okay?
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Right.
And like, because Jaden had a print in there.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
My baby's work is everywhere.
But that's a good cover, too.
It's an amazing cover.
Right,
I
that's
love
a really
that
good cover.
Yeah, so I was just like, but it's been in here for fucking ever. Apparently I have like four. That's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't say it. That's why I didn't say anything on it. But I was going to ask you. I was going to be like, dude, what's up with that? And
you know what it is? Rob has too many children to be a late creator.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody fulfills in this house.
Right. And I'm just like, I was getting kind of concerned, and it's like the motherfucker's been in my office for probably a month now, because it was when I was sick that these boxes came in, and I set them over there, and I'm like, I'll get to them the next day, but then the next day I'm like at the emergency room, like, fix me, please, I can't move, like, and then one thing led to another. And it's like I stack stuff on top of them, and I look over there, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is that?
Is your stack as tall as the one that Rob showed
a
while ago behind his door?
No, because I'm like Rob, I'm actually good about opening mine normally. This has been here since the last time I was in the hospital.
Jesus Christ.
It's just like, what?
Oh my goodness. Oh, Imaginos brings up a point too. The audiences can be fickle as hell. For example, the Black comic audience always talking about how we need to support each other, yet they see our wares and keep walking. Yeah, don't you just love that? And and when I mean love, I mean like Jesus fucking Christ, you know. It's kind of like, you know, and which is also kind of like the thing that she had brought up in her video too, where it's like people keep claiming, like if you were to ask people, you know, like normally, like, is this the type of book that you want, right?
Right.
You know, and they would all say, oh yeah, you know, it's really important and this, that, and the other thing. And, but then it's like, you see, you know, it's kind of like your booze don't, your booze don't mean anything to me because I see what you applaud.
Right.
Right. And it's kind of the same thing where it's like, yeah, it's like people are going to say that's like, oh, no, we want these. Like, oh, like for some reason, nobody admits to collecting these types of books, but these books make all the money, right? Like nobody's like, oh, no. I was like, oh, TNA books. I don't do TNA books and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, no, that's, you know, but it's like, you know, oh, and then it's like, you know, Mendoza's making $180,000 on 2 people. No, that's not true. It's a 400. You know, yeah. Every time I hear people saying that there isn't very many Black superheroes, I start naming off a truckload, and then they always say I didn't know about them. You know, and look, that could be a combination of things, right? That could be a combination. One, it could be that they really didn't know about them, right?
Which is like, then that means they weren't into superheroes to fucking begin with. I hate hearing that shit so bad, dude, because it's like my favorite fucking comic book character, dude, Blade. Blade. How do you not know, if you come into this fucking industry and you're like, there's not enough and there's none that's well written or whatever, it's like, I know right off that you're full of shit and you don't belong here.
Right. Yeah. That's because, you know, motherfuckers be wanting to skate uphill.
Yep, be lying wanting to skate uphill.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. But you know what? He made a cool line though.
Have you ever tried to skate uphill?
I haven't. Look, just skating itself is just skating.
It's hard as fuck. You make it hard for yourself.
Right. You know, but it's like they could either like they just don't know, or
they just don't belong here because they have no interest in what we're doing anyway.
I don't know. It's like because it's like because if you're talking about mainstream stuff and you don't
have to learn the hard way.
Yes, exactly. I know.
Daphne likes to skate uphill too.
Right. Yeah. That's what this show is about, right? This show is literally about me skating uphill. And Jose is always asking, why are you skating uphill? Because everybody says I should be skating uphill. It's that, like I said, it's that low-key peer pressure. You know? Yeah, but you see that's what is it? They're like right, like everybody says everyone says they don't like the live action Disney movies, right? But the shits keep making $1 billion at the box office.
They do. And the only thing I can think of is it's these parents taking these toddlers pointing at the TV. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, that's true.
I could not sit through the fucking thing. Oh my God, dude, there's no fucking way. They're awful. I have not.
No, I've avoided most of them.
Close.
But yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing where it's like, I forgot the point. But yeah, it's just kind of like, like you can't even like trust the audience sometimes. When you're looking, it's like, well, it's like I have this book. Oh yeah, I would love to. You know what it is? I think the equivalent of it at conventions, right? Or like it's like other artists will know this, will be triggered by this. If you have this, if you make this a print, I'll buy it.
Oh yeah.
If you put this on a t-shirt, I'll buy it.
Right.
And then you make the print, you make the t-shirt, and then where is everybody, right?
Right.
It's like, oh my God, if you had a print of that, and it's like, that's also like kind of like another thing that we're fighting where it's like the audience, like if you were to ask them what they want, right, it never seems to match what they're actually buying. you know and that's kind of thing. Oh, who watches the Disney live action movies? Nobody likes them, and blah blah blah. Shit makes $1 billion at the box office.
Right.
Well, someone's lying. Someone's lying. And that doesn't help. And that definitely doesn't make it easy for us to market our books either.
Right.
Because it's like people say, it's like, oh, we want it different. It's kind of like, oh, it's kind of like all the Star Wars fans bitching about, oh, we're tired of Skywalker. We want to see more original stories in the Star Wars universe. It's like, yada, yada.
Like, what?
And then they put out Andor.
Right.
And it was like, oh, what the fuck? This isn't Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yes, it did.
Well, yeah.
Yes, it did. Chicken jockey.
But, and it's kind of like, yeah, like, so I don't know, like sometimes it kind of feels like we're fighting that too, where it's like the audience doesn't want to admit that they like lowest common denominator stuff.
Mm.
And then it's like we think
this.
Right. Yeah, right. And then it's like, but you know what it is, like, but that's I read an article with the screenwriter. I think it was the screenwriter, the producer, I forgot, where it's like it was the story that came first. It's like it was the story that came first. The fact that it had Star Wars elements, was just that just came later. But it was the story that came first. It's like a lot of us, we write our story first. If it happens to have tropes in it, then it's like, okay, but that wasn't the reason why we wrote
Try to write a story without a single trope.
Right. Well, there's no such thing.
Exactly.
No such thing.
Exactly.
But again, there's a difference between writing a story that fits in the Star Wars universe or writing a Star Wars story.
Right.
Writing a story that just happens to have tropes in it, or writing tropes in a way that fits a story. Like you're writing to the tropes.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it's like I said, it's like there just comes a point where it's like, it's like, okay, what do we do with this information? It's like, what? It's like, oh, I guess that Netflix deal is not in my horizon. It's like, yeah, it's like,
they wouldn't have kept you once your series started getting good. They drop you anyway.
Oh yeah, they'd get, yeah, exactly. So it's like,
just keep doing what you're doing.
Like whatever, like images of grandeur that you have for your project, it's like, is it really? It's like, it's like, it's like that maybe, I don't know. It's like, should we just accept the fact that our audience is just a lot smaller than we like to think it is? And like I said, it's like, unless we kind of like.
Our audience isn't 12 inches, it's 6.
But they keep saying it's 12.
But it's still the same size.
Right, yeah. But the audience looks larger if you do this.
It does.
It looks, if you do this.
I have a fish story for you.
Yeah, so so it's like, yeah, so it's just like, I just kind of wonder, like, yeah, like I said, I don't know what to do with this information. I just have Jose. I just have
Jose. Y'all find
yeah.
this information, all it does is bring you back to the fact that unless you're a millionaire, you can't do more than you're already fucking doing. Except some artists could, but I'm not going to get into that.
Right, but again, it's like, but that's the thing,
your
though.
Art, but
in the end, it's not a certain genre. It's not. It's particular people.
Oh, sorry.
It's particular people that are making the money. not a certain genre. We've already seen what catering to, like you could cater to a genre all you want and be making no different money than you were just doing your own stuff. We've seen that already.
Right.
It's particular people that's making the money, making all the money, 90% of the money in a particular genre. It's not the genre itself, but but yeah, so I think the moral of the story is like I gotta stop reading shitty romantasy books. I gotta just read the books that I bought from Monsterotica, because I know those will be a lot more satisfying, much more satisfying reads than these books that TikTok insisted were good books, and holy shit were they not. And that's, so it's like, that's,
I mean, you're talking about the same platform that has the spot erasers that they instantly just wash shit off their faces and stuff. I mean, are you really going to believe them?
What's right?
You know what I'm talking about? They have all these black spots all over their faces.
Oh, right.
And they remove imperfections, and they put this lotion on their face, and it just wipes away. It's
right.
like wipes off your blackheads and shit.
Right. Like, yeah. Well, yeah. It's kind of like, it's like, oh, this book is actually really good and really spicy. And then you read it and it's like, it's kind of neither.
In the likeness of Tolkien.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. This is going to be a good book. No.
So, I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. It's like Jose said, why you keep trying to skate uphill? And I just kind of think, like, would we just save a lot of brain power if we just stopped thinking about that, just did our books, put them on Kickstarter, just accept like where we are, and like I said, unless something dramatic, you do something really dramatic, this is probably it. Would we just save a lot of brain space? That it's like only particular people doing very particular things are going to be making the money, and then the rest of us are just going to be fighting for scraps no matter what. Just worry about our story. Just worry about our books, and here's the thing too, the whole thing about, well, some of us have to make money on our books, and it's like, nah, you don't have to make money, because if you're not making money on your books anyway, I mean, why is that even an argument?
Right.
But to make a point, Melissa, and I don't know, maybe it's because I just brought myself down with this conversation. Just make a good comic, everything else will follow. And sometimes you just have to accept the fact that nothing follows.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean, because it's like, yeah, because again, it's like there's plenty of people who say, oh, I'll support any good comic, and then you see what they buy.
Yeah, right. I was seeing what you've been backing.
Yeah, it's like, I know what you've been backing. And it's like, yeah, so it's like, you know what? We just have to make the books that we want to make in how we want to make it, the way we want to make it. And it's like,
tell some people we're making it.
Yeah, also, because in the end, just self-promote. We're self-promoting. I make no apologies for my backer history. But that's also the thing too. Don't apologize. It's like, look, if you're into that stuff, you're into that stuff. Whatever that stuff may be.
Whatever floats your boat. Whatever turns your 3 inches to 6. You get it and read it.
Oh my goodness. So I gotta go to Home Depot.
I just got to get out of this fucking office. I got so much sweat running down my ass.
Yeah, I know.
It's not even funny.
What is it? It's like, I think it's
I'd be like,
86
degrees. I got to take off my pants.
It's 84
I'm degrees. Do that before I even get out of here.
And it's humid because it's supposed to thunderstorm starting later today for the rest of the week. Again.
I don't have those pants.
brains are just fried. I think that's just what it is. You know, so yeah, so moral of the story. What's the moral of the story? Yeah, don't read shitty romantic.
Oh
books.
shit! Hey, yeah, let me throw this out there since Lou reminded me she
the
existed
monkey
again.
thing.
Like I got sidetracked earlier because when we were talking about covers or whatever. So Laurie Calcatori has Path of the Pale Rider. We all know Laurie in her books. Lou did an amazing fucking cover for her. Like I saw that cover and I was like, holy shit, yeah.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
It was beautiful.
Very nice.
Very, very, very nice cover.
So Path of the Pale Rider, Laurie Calcaterra. Is it on Kickstarter right now?
I'm not sure if it's live.
Home Depot Erotica. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
We're
sure.
We're going to go to the screw and tie down aisle.
Oh my goodness. It's like that scene from, oh my God, I'm going to date myself. That scene from 9 to 5 when they're at the Home Depot trying to find, well, it was the hardware store trying to find the shit to put together that contraption that they were going to put Mr. Hart in.
Yes.
And she's in the bondage store. Then she goes to the hardware store. Then she
felt the pain in my pants. Oh my God.
I don't think it was a bondage store. I think it was actually a halter, like a horse equipment.
Yeah,
and like dog collars and shit. Yeah, it was like one of those types of So yeah, but no, I just need to do something to keep my monitor, to put my monitor back in normal position. This is I'm not liking this angle at all.
I like it.
Oh my goodness. So thank you everybody for joining us for another hot mess of a show. And I guess the big question is, are you skating uphill? Are you skating uphill? And why are you skating uphill? From our immortal Lord and Savior, Blade. Oh my goodness. So yes, thank you everybody in the chat for joining us today for this this hot mess of a show. Yeah.
It's beautiful, Daphne.
Whatever
just
this is.
Beautiful.
Whatever this is. And thank you so much to the beautiful eyeball people watching us from regions beyond. And I hope you are not watching us from Facebook, because I wouldn't allow
and if you are, let me know how you did it, because I cannot figure that shit out to save my life right now.
Because if you were commenting, we didn't see any of your comments. So,
I don't even think we
like
were
I said, there's a reason why we ask everybody to come to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because it's just a lot easier. So any final thoughts, Nita?
I'm fucking hot, dude. I gotta get the fuck out of here. My tits and my butts are sweaty. I gotta clean my shit.
If you want to see more of my work and learn more about my upcoming campaigns and all that fun stuff, you can head over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. You can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. If you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress updates, and remember, you can also find me here on YouTube for all my videos and my semi-weekly art live streams Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. You can also read Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn for free at egoworks.com, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, follow the link over to Tall Tales. That's TAILSonline.com. And you can read all 20 issues of Tall Tales, including the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother. If you want an easier way to read it, it's also on Webtoons as well. Ego Raven updates on Tuesdays and Tall Tales updates on Thursdays. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to, skate uphill. You never have to skate uphill. No, it's like, it always feels like you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.